Police departments across the country are under the microscope when it comes to how their officers deal with calls in which race may come into play. And Portland's is no different. The police chief says he's open to discussing more citizen oversight of his department. But in the meantime, he is adopting many, but not all, of the recommendations made in the wake of the Black Lives Matter protests last summer. The frustration and sadness over the death of George Floyd at the hands of a Minneapolis police officer stirred protests in Portland last summer. That led to the creation of a committee to look at racial equity in our city government. The result, a 47-page list of recommendations.
Actually, most of it was stuff that we already had either in place or in progress, prior to the committee's recommendation.
Portland Police Chief Frank Clark outlined for the City Council Tuesday night what his department is doing to move toward those goals. Before making a hire, written testing, lie detector tests, and psychologists screen candidates for racial bias.
And you can actually pass our written exam in terms of the intelligence component of it, but if the other half, the integrity component that is looking at anger management and is looking at bias-related issues, if you don't pass that, then you don't pass the entire exam. You're out of the process.
Clark says only 4% of the applicants to the Portland PD ever become officers, and for those who do, the anti-bias training continues. De-escalation drills, anti-bias and anti-profiling courses. The department now posts demographic enforcement data online.
Now our internal affairs annual analysis goes up there, our use of force annual analysis and review goes up there.
But there's at least one racial equity committee recommendation that the chief is resisting, that a special crisis response team be formed outside the police department to respond to nonviolent mental health, substance abuse, or homeless calls. It's modeled on programs designed to reduce the number of calls to which police are asked to respond.
We're asking them to do too much.
City Councilor Pius Ali co-chairs the Racial Equity Steering Committee.
I think there are some research out there that shows that having a uniformed officer standing or being present where when during mental health episode for some people, it escalates the situation.
Chief Clark believes professional mental health clinicians embedded in the department and who respond to such calls with officers minimize the involvement of those in uniform.
Sonny, did you go to the clinic? Did you go to the clinic?
And their input has helped officers expand their response options for people in crisis.
It doesn't have to be jail, it doesn't have to be the hospital, it could be something else.
Clark says the collaboration is working. Councillor Ali says it's important to continue this conversation.
There's no question the Portland Police is doing an amazing work. However, even the best can improve.
And we have got the Racial Equity Committee recommendations and Chief Clark's progress report on our website.